Hello, everybody. This is Dawn Bear. I don't know if you can see me or not, but welcome to the fascinating world of finance. We're going to talk a little bit first about communication. Everything you need to know about DCF. There we go. We're working with the technical stuff here. Okay. Number one, as far as the finance department is concerned, my area, I work with the DCSs, the credit cards, the gift cards, that type of thing. If you have any questions regarding those, your deposits, that I would be the one that you would contact. And Deanna has been working with Marzoni, so type on there. So Deanna's here also, and she's been working with Marzoni. So anybody from Marzoni would want to reach out to her, or you could reach out to either one of us, because we do talk to each other, so it'd be okay. But communication is the key. If you have a question about anything, please don't hesitate to call or send an email. I don't know all the answers, but with any luck at all, I'll know who we need to reach out to in order to get the answer that you're looking for. So do not be afraid to reach out for whatever question you might have. It's so much easier if we take care of it at the beginning than if it goes the whole way through and then we have to address it at the end. Especially with this new POS system that's rolling out right now. Some of you are on the new POS system, some of you are on the old POS system, who will eventually be on the new POS system. But there are some things, as far as your daily work is concerned, that does not change. And that is your DCS packets. I'm sure that you all have had an opportunity to put one of those together as closing manager. So things that you need to keep in mind are this. With your DCS packets, the receipts for everything, but the cash and gift card sales should be included in the packet. That'd be your credit card sales, any paid outs, that type of thing. Your paid out log is to be used in the store, but the paid out slip should be put in the packet, and it should be inclusive of the receipt or the donation request if it's a letter for a charity of some sort and you're giving a gift card. I've been asked to relay this information to you. They just started something relatively new where you send your paid outs to Krista on a weekly basis. And there's been some communication that has not gotten out. What they would like you to do, please, is your paid out slip and your receipt. Make copy of it. You want to keep one copy for yourself. One copy will go to Krista with the paid out log. And then, of course, your receipt and your paid out will go in the DCS bag. So in essence, you're going to have 3 different copies. You're going to have the original that goes in the DCS. You're going to have one copy, like I said, with both of those things on, that's going to be attached to Krista's paid outs, and one that you're going to keep at the store with your paid out log. So I guess she's getting half of one and some of the other and whatever. So just make it a policy to just put them both on the copier, make a copy of both things at the same time. All right. Graphic cards. Does anybody know what a graphic card is?
I've seen them. I've seen 3 at Gettysburg when I was training there.
Graphic cards are something that they had. I don't even know. I think they're older than me, but for some reason you still not that old. Okay, not quite as old as me. But we haven't. But can somebody describe the graphic card? It's like a
silver and red border.
Yeah, it's before we had the gift cards that look like credit cards. They're very flimsy. They're like metallic looking.
Look like they're stamped.
Yeah.
Yeah. Believe it or not, they're still out there, and we do get them. And they look brand new. They must have been in some grandma's cabinet or something. But if you get one of those, there is no key for that. So you ring it up in their gift certificates, I believe is what you use. But those graphic cards need to go in the DCS packet, because unlike your gift cards, they cannot be redeemed, and we need to know how many of them that we're getting, because it takes it off our bottom laptop. But anyway, just make sure there's a copy of the graphic card if you get one of those, and put it in the DCS packet. If you do not use the full amount, then you're going to want to make a regular gift card for the remaining balance and still put the graphic card in the DCS packet. Tax exempt certificates. Oh, I'm CCA manager. CCA manager. For you folks with the old system, that is the listing of credit cards and gift cards that are redeemed and or sold, the credit cards that are used for the day. The new system does not have that. What they do have, however, is right now with the two-step gift card creation, you have a report that you print out from the Heartland EMV reader, or the reader that they, I guess it's not really an EMV, but the Heartland reader prints out a report at the end of the night that you are supposed to be comparing to your DCS front page. That report needs to go in. So CCA manager for the old and the report from the Heartland reader for the new. Tax exempt certificates. You must have a tax exempt certificate for any group that comes in that claims to be tax exempt. We must have those in the packet along with the sales receipt. They are state specific. We only have one location. I don't know if there's anybody here from Martinsburg, from West Virginia, but they are state specific. If you're in Pennsylvania, you can only take a Pennsylvania tax exempt certificate. Those are the only ones that Pennsylvania will recognize. If you have any question about what, they have all kinds of things that are coming out now. If you're in State College area, you might have a credit card that has a tax exempt number on it. The only thing that we had to do at this point in time is make a copy of, which you're never supposed to do. And scratch out the numbers, blacken out the numbers, but it will at least have the tax exempt number on it. That's what we're looking for, the tax exempt identification number. But try your very best, even with Penn State, to see if you can't get a certificate from the school. Deposit slip should be stable to the outside of the packet. And I'm going to ask something really selfish here right now. Could you do me a favor and not staple it over top the date? Because that way, when we're looking at the DCS packet, we don't have to take every one of them out if we're looking for something in particular. We don't have to take everyone out and move everything in order to be able to see what day it is. So if you would do that, please, that would be much appreciated. That's not in your manager training, it's just something I'm asking of people. Random audits will be done on a monthly basis. And those audits will include things like your paid outs. I'll be looking for the receipts. And remember too, on those paid outs, any paid outs that you do, please make sure you sign them. Make sure that you sign so that we know who is that we might need to ask a question of, if there's a question about the paid out. So I'll be checking those, checking for the graphic cards, checking for things like travel, and that type of thing. So make sure you have all the information if you do take travel that's necessary, the signatures, all the necessary signatures, and so on and so forth. Thank you. With the increase in credit card usage, we've run into several occasions, especially in the Marzoni stores, where there is not enough cash to pay out all the tips, because the tips are all in the credit cards. So at the end of the night, you're using money from your safe in order to be able to finish out the tips. That results in a zero deposit. Because of course you're giving all your money out. So credit card tips are paid out to the servers at the end of the shift, and that reduces the cash that's available for the daily deposit. And sometimes the paid outs are more than the deposit. Therefore, the DCS will show a negative deposit. Regardless of the amount of that negative deposit, your deposit amount is always the amount that you're taking to the bank. If you're not taking any money to the bank, that deposit is a zero. Please don't put the negative amount in, because when I go to reconcile the bank accounts, the bank doesn't give us any money back. So it's kind of like a checkbook kind of thing. You just want to put whatever money you take to the bank, which would be a zero. Good. There are a couple things that you can look for as far as shortages are concerned. If you find yourself that you're showing a shortage and you're not sure why, check your server audits. I think you all do that anyway, whenever you're paying or they're paying you or whatever. So your server audits could be a possibility. DoorDash receipts. Make sure that they are all rung up as DoorDash. With the new system, I've noticed this. The DoorDash is not being closed out at the end of night. And when it doesn't close out at the end of night, it shows up as a shortage when I pull the file screw. Not on your end, but it goes to an auto-ended day. But on my end, it'll show a shortage. So make sure you close out all your DoorDash receipts and make sure that you have cashed them out as DoorDash and not accidentally cash them out as cash. Counterfeit bills. We've had a few of those come through. Make sure you all have pens so that you can check your bills when they come in, because they're getting craftier and craftier. Cash is not the only way that you can be short. You can be short with your credit cards and your gift cards. The CCA manager for the old locations will let you know if there's a discrepancy in the credit cards or the gift cards at the close of business. And that receipt, that printout that you get from the Heartland gift card will show you how many gift cards you should have redeemed, or how many gift cards you have. Does it show the sold? Created, yeah, created, and it shows the gift cards. Pardon?
It nets it out.
Nets it out, okay. So that'll give you an idea of what you're looking for. You'll be able to tell whether all your, because now with the new system, and this is gonna be foreign to you people, the people that have the old system, with the new system, it's a two-step process. The first step is when you're ringing it up on the actual sale. The second is when you're actually redeeming the card through the Heartland reader. If you don't do step 2, then you're short. So what you're gonna wanna do right now is keep a box, not a reload box, a box with all the gift cards. We normally have you throw out the Blackhawk, etc. Do yourself a favor. Any card that is redeemed during the shift, put it in a box. At night, when the closing manager is doing their thing, if there's a shortage in gift cards, those cards will be there for people to be able to, for them to be able to check, just to make sure that both steps were done. Because we're finding out it's gotten better. It has gotten better. People are remembering that second step. Once we roll out all of the new systems, then it's going to be back to kind of, I don't know exactly, but it won't be a 2-step process anymore. But for right now, it's very important that you remember to do both parts.
So can I say something?
Absolutely.
So I personally think when we do, like, is there a way to like just show the balance on the screen? Because I feel like that's just wasting so much thermal paper every single time. I had to search 40 gift cards the other night, and I printed out 40 things just for it to say 0. I just feel like that's a waste of paper consistently. Because why can't it just show the balance on the thing? And if we want to print it, we click print. You know what I mean?
Why doesn't it show the balance on the screen? Why do you have to print a paper out?
Yeah.
That would be an IT question. I'm afraid I don't know.
Well, get Mike in here.
If there's a way that you'll be able to just see it on the screen. There may be a possibility that you can, but that would be a question that you would want to ask.
Mike or Jeremy.
You have to remember too, this second step is going to go away once all of the POS systems are rolled out. So it is short term.
Oh, okay. So is there like a time frame?
As soon as they get all the stores rolled out.
Yeah, they're halfway.
Yeah, halfway.
So, but you know what? That's a question. We'll ask that question. We'll ask that question for Mike. And I'm sorry, who was it that asked the question?
Ty.
Ty. Oh, okay, Ty. I'll scream across the parking lot at you.
Okay.
Let me check with IT. Check with Michael and see if there's a way that you can do it. You can just see it rather than printing it out.
That'd be great.
So, because I really don't know the answer to that question, but I will, and I'll get back to you. Okay.
Okay.
Click. I don't know if you are familiar with the Blackhawk cards. You should be at this point in time. The Blackhawk cards are the ones they buy in the grocery stores, and they have the $25 on them. It actually says $25 on them. Those are the ones that we used to say, go ahead and throw them away immediately. Now we're asking you to put them in the box so that the night manager can check them if the gift cards are off. But, and then they will throw them away. But we don't want to reload the Blackhawk cards. We had a little bit of problem with that for a while. Folks weren't paying attention and were reloading them, and they were taking a $25 Blackhawk card and loading it with $50. And then when they got it out to give it as a gift, it said $25 on it when it was really a $50 card. So we don't reload. You can reload them, but we don't want them reloaded. So the Blackhawk cards, for right now, put them in the box till the end of the night, and then whoever the closing manager is can go ahead and destroy them or throw them out or whatever.
Okay.
So that's about all I have. Deanna, is there anything that you wanted to add to that?
No, I think you got it all.
Okay, does anybody have any questions?
Nope.
Okay, and I'll find out that answer for you, Ty, okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm Deanna. We're gonna move on. Hosses, we have our own maintenance department. And we fall under Hosses. We used to be under our own company and now we're all under Hosses. We no longer charge for labor, which is a significant savings since we moved that department into Hoss. And they are available. You can reach out via phone or you can reach out via email, and that email address is hmd@hossport.com. And that goes to Dave Decker, Dan Mutter, myself, and all the technicians over at the maintenance department. We have contracts set up and they have been established. We have rerun the figures for 21 through 23. And we reevaluate these annually. And our maintenance contracts for the front page for Hosses have increased to 1,300. The back page stayed the same at 600. Marzoni's increased to 1,900 for the front page, and the back page stayed at 600. These are the only amounts you will be charged regardless of what the actual monthly maintenance repairs are for your location, which means keep your buildings updated. Anytime you need something repaired, reach out to the HMD department and they'll get you on the schedule and get out there and get it taken care of for you. But you're seeing a significant savings by only being charged the contracted amounts instead of being charged for everything that you are having done. Next. You will notice on your P&L that there are direct expenses from vendors like Partstown, Franklin Machine, etc. When you see these are directly expensed parts that didn't have any kind of technician involved. This is where we may send direct ship parts directly to your store because you have someone there that can install those parts. And in that case, you're just going to see that on your P&L as a cash expense. So if you have any questions or you need copies of those invoices, please feel free to reach out and I can get you a copy of those. Equipment that we track is tracked by serial number. All new equipment that we bring in for your building is tracked by its serial number. It's important to ensure that when you have an outside vendor coming in to perform service, that they are also notating that model number and serial number on that invoice. And the reason being, if we get a new piece of equipment and it's a problematic piece of equipment, we need to know that who was working on it and how much has been invested in that piece of equipment so that we can determine if A, it's under warranty and we can get a new replacement, or B, we just need to get you a new replacement. So it's very important to have those vendors notating that model number and serial number anytime they're in your building working on a piece of tracked equipment. Our next slide will just show you the pieces of equipment that are tracked. Fryers, ovens, griddles, saute stations, meat chests, set coolers, upright coolers and freezers, your walk-in prep meat and freezer, and then your HVAC units, your big rooftop units on the top, ice cream machines, and your ice machines. All new and existing vendors that you hire for your location to perform services in your building are required to have liability insurance and W-9 documentation. We as a customer are required by the IRS to always keep current updated copies of these documents. Certificates of liability insurance expire yearly. W-9s are required for us to ensure that the business is a legal entity. These are needed before we are able to process any payments for vendors. If the vendor is not able to provide a valid liability insurance certificate, we are not permitted to allow them in our building to perform any work. We are currently monitoring this program monthly and sending letters requesting the documentation. If you receive any of these documents, please forward them to me. And the last thing is we do some EDR money and some rebate monies. You will see those. The crane money is kind of sporadic. We are giving that quarterly now instead of monthly. However, the EDR rebate monies, you are now seeing a credit to your 4016 GL account every month. This is just stuff that helps reduce your food costs, and these are rebates that Mark Spinizzola works on to get for us. So, any questions?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Are you able to email these PowerPoint pages to me? Because I'm trying to take notes, but unfortunately, we're moving along fairly quickly and I can't take notes on any of this.
Yeah, we can send it.
Yeah, we can send them out to everybody. We'll get the list for the class from Pam and just send the notes to everybody.
Oh, great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, I'm Jill and I'm sitting right at the computer. So if I'm too loud, somebody tell me and I'll try to turn me down. I take care of accounts payable for Hosses. Becky's here also. She does accounts payable for Marzoni's. The invoices are sent. Hoss invoices are sent to me. Marzoni's invoices are sent to Becky. We've always told everyone to send them Monday morning after you do inventory. That way they're sent once a week. Make sure you stamp them okay to pay, initial them. We enter the invoices into the accounting system and process them for payment. Just because you've sent them to us doesn't necessarily mean that they've been paid. It means they've been entered into the system. We pay them based on the terms for each company. These are the list of places that we put your invoices, where we code them to. So if you ever look at a P&L, you could see your advertising is in a different spot from your food inventory and things like that. Yep.
Petty cash checkbooks. Ty, you would know about this, right? You would scan a copy of the completed check and the invoice to me as soon as you possibly can, like as soon as you write it that day. Because I don't have access to the bank statements. So I keep a spreadsheet so that I know how much money is actually in your account. So we don't want that to go under. So as soon as, if you write 4 checks a week, every day you write one, make sure they're scanned over to me. And that can be to the folder or to my email. All credit card receipts, like you guys don't have credit cards anymore. Delayed charges. Todd, do you know what a delayed charge is?
Me?
Yeah.
Yes, I do. We charge
I have a little bit of trouble sometimes with these delayed charges because 201's basically the only one that does it occasionally, either for the family or it used to be the investment stock club that would come in. But include that copy of that receipt in the DCS or send it to me in an email because I have no idea. And then at the end of the month, when I go to reconcile them, I'm hunting for, what is it?
I think there's some Hosses that do delayed charges. And same goes for them. Make sure you track them and do you want them in the DCSs also, Dawn?
It's only 3111. Yeah, they do. I've had to pull a couple of them for them to be able to, but in the end, he pretty much does their thing. But yes, if you don't mind, if you have a delayed charge, there might be an occasional one, mostly in the Hoss. It's already places that are set up, but if you have a road one like that, sometimes some of the locations deal with funeral homes and that type of thing. It might have an occasional one. In that case, it wouldn't hurt at all to have a copy of that delayed charge in the DCS packet in case you need to refer to it, in case your copy gets lost when you go to build them.
Normally any invoices or anything that needs to come to either Jill or I can be scanned to the folders. But you can also direct email like me or Jill for Hosses, me from Marzoni's. If I need something right away or we need it right away, direct email us because we do not get the scanned folder stuff until the following day. So like the petty cash checks, I wouldn't get them till the next day. And if it's close to being a balance that needs funded, it could be like the next day till I know that. And I know I've discussed this with Ty about doing them direct to me because I don't get them till the next day. Jill for Hosses, me for Marzoni's, Deanna for the maintenance department, Dawn Bear for DCS deposits and credit cards, and Dawn Black payroll and direct deposits. The utility invoices are sent directly to the office due to the short period of time that we have to pay them. Sometimes we'll get a gas bill and it's due in 5 days because it took 3 or 4 days to mail here and they only give you 10 days. So we don't have time to mess with sending them to the store and sending them back. So we just take care of utilities like right here. And I do a spreadsheet that gets sent. We keep track of that and it gets sent at the end of the month to the GM and the DM so that you can track your own utilities and see if there's any anomalies, like why was my garbage bill so high this month, or why was my gas bill so high, or wait, my water bill, I might have a leak, you know, because it went up so much. Reinhardt invoices are downloaded automatically to our system, so we don't need them here, so you don't need to scan those over with the invoices. Because they're uploaded automatically. And I would say that chills up.
One thing I did want to say about garbage, we've been having some contamination issues with the cardboard. If you put plastic or an accidental bag of garbage or can or anything in the cardboard dumpster, they won't take it. They'll actually flag it and send a garbage truck to pick it up. And then they charge us fees. They charge us fuel surcharges and contamination fees and all kinds of stuff. So if you think about it, just mention it to your dish guys or whoever takes out your garbage, that just to be careful, just even like a wax box. I think tomatoes come in wax boxes. They're considered contamination. Or even like shrink wrap. If you just take the cans out of the box and leave the plastic around it, that's considered contamination. I think they're using it for extra income, to be honest with you. So they're taking pictures of this stuff and they've been charging us. So just mention it to whoever takes your garbage out. I also take care of community nights. It's an opportunity. If someone comes in and asks for a donation, you can ask them to schedule a community night rather than just giving them a monetary or gift card donation. Way back when we started this, it was to get new customers in the door. Someone who doesn't normally frequent Hosses or Marzoni's doesn't do them. Someone who doesn't normally frequent Hosses, we can get them in. You can schedule them on the portal. Please ask the group who they want their checks made payable to. Oh dear.
Oh,
Okay, well, we need to speed things up. We've had a lot of, well, not a lot, but some organizations, you guys schedule them and they're made out to like Best Buddies. You know, we need to make sure that they actually have a bank account. Just make sure that you ask them what name they want on their check. Best Buddies may not be an account that they have set up at the bank. So when we send them the check, they may have problems depositing it. Also, Samantha is spelled incorrectly here. So make sure the information is spelled correctly and complete. You have this, I assume it's a Relay for Life, but if someone would call me and say, hey, I had a Relay for Life, can you look up my payout amount, or I didn't receive my check? I'm looking for Relay for Life. It's in the system as RFL. Also, I'm sure Kelly has a last name. So just make sure everything's complete, spelled out. Don't abbreviate cities. E-Town was one that was abbreviated all the time. This says Punxsutawney rather than Punxsutawney. The community nights don't receive a payout if they have less than $300 in net sales. So if that happens, call them and let them know they didn't meet the threshold and they won't be receiving a check. I get calls all the time, you know, where's my donation check? In some stores, if it's less than $300, they don't even post it. So then I don't have any information about it. So if it is less than $300, make sure you post it, then it's in my system and I can tell them that. And call and let them know, offer to reschedule, maybe, you know, it snowed that day or something, they want to reschedule for a different date. Don't schedule them out more than 6 months. there's some churches that they'll schedule like 3 years in advance. Just try not to do it more than 6 months. I've had them return checks because someone's passed away or they're not the treasurer anymore or something like that. So, and I don't mind reissuing them, but it creates chaos for them. Like they receive the check, that person no longer helps them, so they have to return it to me. And we would just rather them receive the donation check and be able to deposit it. I print the checks every Friday, so you can tell people they should be receiving them within 2 weeks. And your community night package should be kept at your store for a full quarter and the quarter you're working in. So in theory, you should have the last quarter of 2023 and the first quarter of 24 in your store. Don't put them in a DCS. I called a store, there was a missing community night last week for State College, and it's missing, it's MIA. They don't have it at the store. I looked in the DCS for a 2-week period and can't find it. So just make sure that you keep them in your store, and then like when we have our quarterly meetings, send them with your GM or DM, and then I actually keep them for 7 years. I store them by store, by quarter. Those packets are actually considered the invoice. Like if we would get audited, those packets are what the auditors want to see, because then they know that we actually have those receipts that make up the amount of money that we sent to the organization. And they appear on your P&L. We ask that we ask that the GMs check their P&L just to make sure as a double check, especially with this new POS system. You're sending them to me and I'm entering them manually. So just, we want to make sure that we don't miss any. They started in 2005. You can see they definitely peaked in 2010. The pandemic had a big impact on how many we have scheduled. So I just put that on there for information purposes, because I'm weird. So does anybody have any questions? Okay, on to payroll.
Hi, everyone. I am Dawn Black and I take care of payroll. My job actually is a hybrid of finance and HR, so I work with both teams on different aspects of my job. I want to start with new hires and rehires. One of the most common errors with a new hire is the employee not being completed in TalentReef. Are you all familiar with the process of the manager side of TalentReef? Have you all worked with that? So it is important that they're hired completed. One of the big things with them not being under the hired completed, their hours don't transfer over to me at the end of the week. So that's usually a trigger that we're missing something on that end. And sometimes employees will fill out W-4s as exempt. I see this a lot with new hires. And I do always follow up with an email to the store to let you know that someone had filed their W-4 as exempt, just to make sure that that is what they want. I like you to follow up with them to make sure they want no federal taxes to come out. And if that's the case, that's fine. I just always like to be sure. Sometimes younger students don't understand any of that. Sometimes their parents do want them filled out that way. I just always like to follow up on that. When the new hire is doing their onboarding, one of the things they do is select their payment type. So they'll either choose direct deposit and put their information in, or they can opt for a pay card. The pay cards are the responsibility of the employee. We order the pay cards, and I can do minimal work with the pay cards, but the pay card is basically considered their bank account. So there's only so much I can help with regarding that. And when rehiring an employee, notify HR. There is a rehire form that I think I have on the next screen, and follow up with the employee regarding their direct deposit. If we rehire someone and they hadn't been with the company for 2 years, their bank information may have changed, and we want to make sure that that is correct. If you're having trouble with a new hire, if there's for some reason you can't get them into the system, just be sure to keep track of their hours and email me at the end of the week so we can get them paid properly. And then one important thing to me is to always inform a new hire when their first pay will be.
our pay ends on a Sunday night and the actual payday is 10 days later, which is kind of not a norm. Most places end on Sunday, pay on Friday. So we have a 10-day loop there. I always like employees to know when they're getting their pay. If someone does start at the beginning of a pay period, it is actually 3.5 weeks until they get paid their first pay. So I just like them to know that. And that's the rehire form. Don't know if any of you have used them before, but Jen Cushion could answer any questions on that you may have. It's just basically verifying most of their information so that we can have everything correct on our side. The pay cards. The pay cards are run through ADP and they're actually called Wisely Pay. When I order them, they're sent to the employee's home address. I also like to follow up with the store and let you know that someone is to be receiving one. If you're familiar with those envelopes of the spares we have in the safes, they do look like junk mail. So just a little heads up, you know, hey, Jill, your pay card's on its way. Just be watching for it because they do get thrown away. And I understand that. Like I said before, we're the third party with the pay cards. They are responsible for their account. I can help with reissues and minor adjustments, but in general, this is basically their bank account that they have to work with. And like I mentioned, we do keep blank pay cards in the safe. So if someone doesn't receive their pay card or lost their pay card, we can always reissue one out of the safe. And it's nice to know that they're there and we can help them right away. Once money is loaded on the card, we're unable to remove it. So if we would pay someone the pay card and they, for some reason, don't like the pay card, and they say, can I just get cash for that? Unfortunately, we can't do that. We have to reissue them another pay card. I can't take money off of a card. I can only load money on it. So payroll and benefit information can be accessed two different ways. We have the CoreEngage app and the GreenShades app. And on the screen there is the CoreEngage app. Has anyone ever looked at this app? So it has a bunch of different things on it. Financial and fitness pay is where you'd find most of your pay information and GreenShades, but it also lists benefit information and some other topics there that are of interest as well. So if an employee is wanting to see their pay card, since we are pay information, since we are paperless, this is the app that you want to direct them to, either CoreEngage or GreenShades. So on CoreEngage, it gives you a direct link to GreenShades Online, as well as the Wisely Pay Card, and also PSECU Credit Union. I don't know, when you guys were here for HR, did Brenda mention PSECU to you? Wasn't sure if anyone had an account with them. They do have a lot of special interest rates and everything. If you have an employee maybe that wants to change banks, it's certainly something to suggest. I actually have an account with them myself, and they are really good to work with. So just something to keep in mind. GreenShades is the other app. Since we're ticking down to April 15th, everyone's probably pretty familiar that GreenShades is where people can go out and find their W-2s if they want to print them themselves. So we have a lot of people that will call and say, I don't know how to work this GreenShades. I can't access my account. If you have any troubles with that, please give me a call. I'll do my best I can to help you with that. You can access without having an account, but I do always suggest that we create an account. That's where the employees can always check their pay stubs if they have a question. And like I said, check their W-2s. Those employees that have benefits, all that is out on GreenShades as well. When an employee is setting up GreenShades, they want to put in HOS for the company search. That actually applies to Marzoni's as well. It's just the master company that holds all of our employee information. So the payroll cycle I had mentioned earlier is a 10-day loop from when the pay cycle ends and we actually get paid. Ends on a Sunday, paid the following Wednesday. Employee payroll checks, that's usually for new employees that may have missed the loop of me ordering a pay card for or didn't sign up for direct deposit. They will be mailed to the employees at their home address. Another thing, I like to try to send an email out to the store, let you know Becky is gonna be receiving a check for next Wednesday's pay, and it'll be coming in the mail to her home address. It's just nice to take that extra minute just to let the employee know that, so they can be watching for it. As far as pay cards go, please remind your employees to activate the pay card. I know sometimes we have servers that get pay cards and they don't activate them because they get $3 on them or $1. If the pay cards aren't activated within 90 days, they are actually inactivated by Wisely Pay. And then we have to go through the process of deciding if they want direct deposit or get them another pay card. As far as direct deposits, sometimes we have employees that have closed accounts or change accounts and don't let us know necessarily in the proper amount of time before we run payroll. So what happens there, if someone would come to you and say, I closed my account, what's going to happen to my payroll? Depending on when you let me know, most likely we'll have to wait until the bank returns it to us. Once the bank sends it back to our bank, I will give the store a call. We can do a paid out for that person. And then we're back to the loop of making sure what their next cycle will be as far as, do they want direct deposit with another bank, or do we want to get them a pay card? Paid outs for employees. So if you have someone who didn't turn in vacation time, or someone who forgot to punch it in, you didn't catch it before everything came to us, and we need to get that person paid. Keep in mind that all paid outs must be authorized through the home office. So myself or Jill can authorize those. You just let us know as the manager what we're missing, because we do need your help with that, especially if it's someone that didn't punch in. You know, Deanna was missing 10 hours, can we get her paid? And then we'll work with you to get that done. But always make sure to contact one of us. Don't just pay money out of the drawer for payroll. So like I mentioned earlier, paid outs can also be done when a direct deposit is returned. Again, Joel or I will contact you and let you know that their money came back. We'll have to recircle for what type of payment type they want moving forward. One thing to keep in mind is it's not our policy to advance any money through Haas's or Marzoni's for any payroll issues. So to me, the first answer is when someone comes to ask you, is it's really not our policy to do that. So it's not something we want to get in the habit of doing. Something else that I take care of is garnishments. So we have garnishments for child support. Now defaulted student loans are currently on hold until September of this year, and we'll see where that all shakes out. Or unpaid taxes. Sometimes people miss paying their taxes. Sometimes, I'm sure you're aware, when we have a server, sometimes we run out of money to get their taxes. So sometimes that goes into default and we have to garnish. I do have to follow the restrictions on the wage attachment. So unfortunately, I'm sorry that upsets some people. I've had people call and say, can you just not do it? Unfortunately, I can't. And one thing to keep in mind is those garnishments, when they get to us, they've already been notified, be it child support or unpaid taxes, that these things are going to happen. So that will be happening. Labor transfers, that's another thing I take care of. Becky takes care of inventory transfers and I take care of labor transfers. So on the labor transfers, just like the inventory transfers, we always want them to be as complete as possible. The location to and from, the manager's signature, and then under item description for payroll, please don't write cover shift, because I don't know who's covering the shift. And it is always helpful if you would put covering management shift, you know, covering cook, covering something. I know most people's names, but it is always helpful if you can take the extra time to write that. Make sure you include the rates, and if we have anybody out on special assignment, I know we've had people work at the food shows. If you're out on special assignment, sometimes those are covered in-house here by the office. So just make a note of that and I'll make sure that it gets charged to the proper department.
Can I add something to that?
You can.
Make sure at the top where it says date, especially on my inventory transfers. We go by periods, which is not only always, it's not generally a calendar month. So that date is important when we go to enter, because if it's on 2/26 and the period ended at 2/25, That's not getting entered till period 3, and you wanted it in period 2. So just make sure it's dated.
And it's dated the day the product leaves your building, right?
Yes.
Any questions on any of that? So these are some double checks prior to sending payroll. Missed punches. Now, again, we'll go back to, we have some people on the new POS, some people on the old POS. I know the new POS has some great features that kind of make everything stand out that's missing, which is great. And eventually everybody will be there. But for the time being, at the end of the shift, make sure that there aren't any missed punches. Always check for any missed vacation that people have requested. Hours not added when working in another store. You know, with regards to labor transfers, you send a cook to another location. You still have to pay them out of your store and then fill out the labor transfer so we can charge that store. Rates not entered correctly. Rates come in incorrectly all the time, and Delaney takes good care to make sure everything is right before I go to process payroll. Labor transfer is not complete. That kind of goes back to what Becky said. Are we missing a date? Are we missing a name? You know, the detail's important so that we can get it where it needs to go. And then employee terminations need to be done as well. So I'll end like Dawn started, and communication is critical. Timeliness counts. Payroll's processed almost a week prior to the actual payday. So, you know, if anything comes up, just give me a call, send me an email, we'll make sure we get it fixed. And correctly paid employees, to me, equal a positive team. Does anyone have any questions?
If you decide that you do have any questions, you can always reach out to any of us. We're always in the office, so if you don't know who to call, just call one of us and we'll either answer you or send you on to who can.
We want to thank you for your time today, and especially for your patience, because we had a lot going on with this presentation. We apologize for all the technical difficulties that we were having. Thank you, and we will get that PowerPoint presentation out to you if you needed that for any additional information. Thank you, everyone, for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.